In this video, we're going to take a look at how to draw graphs or do some graphing and basic graphing functions with the virtual calculator. Now, one thing I want to handle first is if you get this kind of screen when you turn on or start your virtual calculator, then that's because there's something called the skin, which isn't enabled for you to see the keys that you press so that you can actually use the calculator. So right-click on it anywhere. And see right here, the skin is the image that you see. So I'm going to click on the default TI-83 Plus. And so now it looks more like a normal graphing calculator. And we can start doing some graphing. So let's say you wanted to graph a function. Let's say it was modeling investing some money. Okay, so let's say you're investing $1,000, let's say at 1.5% a month for X number of months. So I would go into, to do any graphing, you have to go into the y equals. And so I would, okay, so we're going to start with 1,000, multiply by, and if you're earning 1.5% interest, whoops, I typed it in wrong. Okay, so this is as a decimal, that's 101.5%. This 1.5% here on the end is the interest you're earning. The 100%, the 1.00, is the fact that you're starting with $1,000 or whatever. So this is increasing this by 1.5% each time. Now, to the power of is using this key, and we can't use t for time. We have to use x, so use this variable here. And so I'm going to press graph. And whenever you see this image up here in the top right-hand corner going, some people call it the worm, it means the calculator is actually thinking, and now it's done. Now, that certainly doesn't look like a exponential function. So let's go back into the y equals. Now, there's space for a couple other functions below here. And look, somebody has this one entered here, so I want to clear that. You know, maybe somebody was using the calculator before you, this is the handheld one, and they typed that in. Now, so I go back and press graph again, but I don't see my function coming up. And that's because if we go to window, see this is going from, the x-axis is the time axis, is going from -10 to 10. And actually that's not that bad, although we don't really need a whole bunch of negative time. The y is the amount of money you have in your investment, but it starts at $1,000. So see it's got the y min. I'll go back here. See the y min is -10, the y max is +10. So you see it needs to start at the very minimum, 1,000, and go up. So I'm going to go back to window, and I don't really need any negative, but I'll use -3 so I can see my y-axis. And maybe we'll go up to, I'll type in 25 so we can easily get to 24 months or 2 years. And I'll leave my x scale as 1. See if I go back to graph here. See this is actually, that would be times 0, and then these are all the months up to, that would actually be 24 months there, that would be 25 because that's where I specify. Still can't see the function because the y values aren't high enough. So maybe I'll start with my lowest y value, which is the amount of the investment, and maybe I'll start it at $900. And just because that's something a little bit below 1,000. And so the y max, you know, maybe we'll go up to 1,400 or 1,500 or something like that. You can adjust it if it's not big enough. I probably wouldn't want to leave my scale as 1, going up by 1. I'll probably make that maybe $100. So when I graph it, and here comes the graph. So this is 1,000, and that would be 1,100, 1,200, 1,300, 1,400, 1,500, and we can see pretty much all we need to see up to about, well, the 24 months. Now, if you press trace, so this is telling me at 11 months, the investment was up to $1,177.95, if we rounded 95 cents. The problem with just scrolling as long is hard to get right to an exact time. So if I wanted 10 months, well, that's 10.1. That's 9.8 months. I can't get exactly to 10, but you see if you're tracing and you just type in the number, it takes me right to 10 months. So at 10 months it was $1,160.54. Okay, we could actually check that at 10 months. If you want to see the calculation, it would be, remember we typed in 1,000 times 1.015 to the power of, so I want to check the 10 months. So there's the same calculation the calculator did, $1,160.54. So trace at 10 months, $1,160.54. So that's how you can actually show it algebraically, not just from the graph. And so, you know, I wanted to type in 0. That's the beginning. So you see at 0 months it was $1,000. At the end of 2 years, which is 24 months, I could type in 24, and it's up to $1,429.50. That's what the value would be after 24 months, after 2 years. Now, one of the nice things about the graphing calculator is the virtual one, is let's say I want to take a screenshot. So right-click on the calculator anywhere and take screenshot, and you have the option of just doing a black and white one or the true colors. Bitmaps are really big, so I might just go to clipboard. If you do black and white, and I'm just going to bring a Word document over here so I can paste, show you what it looks like. Whoops. So right-click and paste. So there's my image. That was the black and white one. If you do the true colors, it has the same color as the calculator itself. So you have a couple of options there. So you can actually paste those just in give you a Word document if you're typing up something. It gives you a fairly nice finish to it. It's a pretty low resolution, so don't make it too big. It gets kind of fuzzy after a bit, but if you keep it a reasonable size, it's fairly clear. And to turn the calculator off, right-click anywhere. Now, if you want to save state, it'll save the stuff we have in here. If you don't, you can just click on Exit without saving state. And then when you go to turn the calculator back on, I'll just bring it up here again. I just turned it on. Then it has the basic, even in the y equals, there's nothing there. Okay, so it'd be just the basic calculator. And that's a little bit about how you graph and use some options you can use with graphing on the virtual calculator. And that's the end of the video.